Are we ready? Oh, we are. All right, everybody, welcome. We're going to get started here. Sorry, we're starting a few minutes late. There's a lot of stragglers still coming from lunch, so I'm going to kick the session off with a quick video.
After I visited the Library of Congress and I saw these images of Francis Benjamin Johnston's that were taken during the turn of the last century, I decided I would spend my life photographing America during my lifetime. My name is Carol Highsmith, and I'm photographing the United States and donating the images copyright-free to the Library of Congress. I can be a photographer all I want, but if I'm not running my business correctly, I won't have a business for long. I started to use Fundbox and QuickBooks, and it's wonderful because I'll get funding through the Library of Congress, and it might take a little while to come to me. So in the meanwhile, I can tap Fundbox based on invoices and have the funds in my bank the next day. I know what I've spent, I know what I've been paid, I know where I stand. My husband and I drive everywhere. And what's great is QuickBooks and Fundbox are always with me, no matter where I am. Fundbox and QuickBooks have helped me consolidate and refine my business so that I don't have to spend so much time on it, and I can really concentrate on my craft and the legacy I'm leaving behind for the Library of Congress and for America.
Wow, I just get so inspired every time I see that video with Carol. It just is so amazing what she is doing, and that we've been able to help her with Fundbox run her business that much better so she can be doing what she loves. My name is Jen Pataki, and I head up marketing for the Intuit developer group. And today we're going to spend a little bit of time immersing you in the world of small business owners. Excuse me. One of the things that we are going to talk about is some data and some research that we've been doing to really immerse you in the way that small businesses think, the way they want to run their business, and what their expectation is from the types of software and solutions that are made available to them. Once you hear from me, I'm not going to be on stage that long, not very interesting. I am going to invite my colleague David Leary up here with a panelist of small businesses where you can hear from them how running a business is no small feat. So hopefully you guys were all in our main stage keynote today where Brad talked a lot about our mission. And what's so inspiring to me about this is that having Scott Cook's wife sitting at a kitchen table, struggling to manage and reconcile her checkbook, and having Scott look at that and say, there's got to be an easier way to do this, and having the idea of Quicken and then QuickBooks be born, and the fact that our mission has stayed consistent for over 30 years is, I think, what fuels our passion in this company. We really work every day to improve our customers' financial lives so that they don't ever think about going back. Here in the small business group, our biggest mission is to fuel small business success, because when they thrive, we all do. And that's where we think building an app ecosystem is really going to help support those small businesses. One thing I would like to point out, though, is we're not looking to build a free app marketplace. We know that small businesses will invest lots of money in software as long as they know it's going to actually help them run their business. So who are small businesses today? We know that there are 29 million small businesses in the US and over 600 million of them globally. What you might not know, though, is that out of all of those small businesses, in the first 5 years, 1 out of 2 of those small businesses fail. And in the first 10 years, 2 out of 3 of those small businesses fail. If you can just imagine the economic impact of those lost jobs and lost revenue. So what we would love to do is be able to partner with you together, because if we can even enable 5% of those small businesses, that would potentially generate 5 million new jobs, which could potentially wipe out unemployment. So as we work together with you, developers, what we're really looking to do is hopefully, with QuickBooks, partner with you and help you be that champion to grow that app ecosystem where we all together can help fuel that small business success. So earlier today, Avi talked a little bit about how small businesses are at the tipping point of cloud adoption. We know that almost 40% of small businesses are adopting the cloud every day, and by 2020, almost 80% of those businesses are going to be in the cloud. If you think about it, that's only 5 years away. That's not really far off. And we know that these small businesses have an appetite for solutions that are going to help them run their business. We know that financial management is actually in the center of this small business cloud. Small businesses, we know, spend almost 4 hours every day bookkeeping, sending out invoices, accepting payments, managing existing customer relationships and building new ones. That's 4 hours every day in the back office that doesn't let them run their small businesses, like Carol, who gets to go out and photograph all of these amazing pictures. At Intuit, we are 100% focused on delivering on that customer benefit. And that's why we spend so much time doing research on what small business owners' pain points are and the types of customer benefit we can deliver for them. In recent studies that we've done, we know that 2/3 of small business owners are looking for apps that are created to help them seamlessly run their business and manage their back office. We know also that 4 out of 5 of those business owners think it's important that all these solutions work together, and they don't want to think about it. If you were in Avi's keynote earlier today when you watched his video, Hope from Marmalade said, "I just expect that all of my applications are going to work seamlessly together so I can take a step back and I don't have to think about it all being done in the background for me." That's what's going to help her run her business. So if there's a couple things that I'd love for you guys to walk away from today, it's really think through how you too can deliver on that customer benefit and really solve pain points so that small business owners can really love just running their business. And also, after listening to our panel of small businesses talk about what it's like to run their business, maybe you'll even walk out of here with an idea or two of what other solutions you could potentially build. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, David Leary. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you. I don't need to click, right? Or do
Actually,
one slide?
the next one you do, yeah.
Okay, the play button? Or just the next one over? Cool. So if I look back like the last 3 or 4 years of this journey, like be at conferences, and 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was just me on a stage by myself, like saying, this future's coming, SaaS is coming, SaaS is coming. Last year at QuickBooks Connect, I basically had a panel of accountants talking about how they use apps, how they're using SaaS in the cloud to help the small business clients run on the business. This year we actually went out and found 4 actual small business owners that are all cloud, they use apps, and let them kind of tell the story instead of me just soapboxing about it. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our panelists. If you guys want to rise up and come on. So we'll go bottom and up. So Jason is from the New Primal, and Megan is from GuardUp, and Erica is from Southern Culture Foods.
Thank you.
Guys, do you need your waters? You guys good?
Fine.
I'll let you guys go and introduce yourselves and tell about your business, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sure. So I'm Jason Burke. I'm the founder of the New Primal, and we make healthy meat stacks. The goal being to take the gas station out of beef jerky.
I'm Megan Gardner. I'm the founder of GuardUp, Inc., the largest sword fighting facility in North America. And then we run summer camps that are essentially like a computer game without the computer. So kids play in a game that looks like World of Warcraft, costuming, monsters, and everything, but no computers involved.
My name is Erica Barrett, and I'm the founder of Southern Culture Artisan Foods. And my life mission is to reinvent breakfast So we manufacture non-GMO, all-natural, flavored breakfast products.
I'd like to you guys to talk to you about your history. It's interesting that two of you are kind of from our space. One of you worked at ADP, and one of you worked for a nonprofit app builder that for software for nonprofits to run. Blackboard, is that right? Blackbaud. So if you could kind of tell like what your world was like before you started your business, how you started it a little bit, and then when you realized like, oh my God, I have a genuine business, I need to get QuickBooks, and how you got to that point.
Sure. Do you want me to talk about Blackbaud?
Oh, and you could just like, you can mention like you actually had a job before.
Yeah, no, I sold software analytics for a company that made CRM for nonprofits, and I sort of changed all my dietary standards, and long and short of it is I was looking for a healthy snack at my desk all day long, and I couldn't find what I wanted at the grocery store. So I Googled how to make beef jerky and bought a $30 dehydrator and started making it at home. And within about 6 months, my wife told me I had to get all the dehydrators out of the house. Everything smelled like smoke. And at that point, I thought, well, maybe I'm onto something. And so I worked it part-time for a year and a half before leaving to go full-time. But midway into that part-time process, I realized that, okay, I need an accounting solution because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I have receipts and invoices and things popping up. And it was at that point we sort of at least jumped into the QuickBooks Online.
So the inception of my company came from actually my two daughters when they were little. Instead of reading them a bedtime story, I would make up a story where they were the heroes in the story. And then I'd say, what do you do? And then they would tell me, and then I'd make up the next part of the story. But then I used this to kind of gauge where they were in their development, and I would throw some educational elements into it as well. Then I kind of thought this through, and I thought, you know, I bet you other kids and parents would be interested in this. So we started forming these classes and adventures and then eventually summer camps. And it exploded because every child wants to be a hero in a story instead of just watching it up on a movie. And actually my background was martial arts. I did martial arts for 25 years. Then I started this program and it got so successful that I ended up leaving the whole martial arts industry behind and just went on to ride this. I've actually been a part of QuickBooks Online since its inception. Before that, I used QuickBooks Desktop. And the moment that I realized what cloud was, I said, I need to be a part of this because ultimately I don't want to be in the office every day and I want to access my information. So I grabbed a hold of that, and I'm a bit of a geek as well, so I'm always looking for the next technology to come out. And so I was cloud long before most people were cloud, and I've been paperless for years now at our facility.
So my background before I started Southern Culture is I was a HR generalist for a payroll company called ADP. And before that, Paychecks. Absolutely loved my job, but food was always there. I've been cooking with my grandmother since I was 9 years old. So kind of had this aha moment at the grocery store when I was going to make breakfast for my husband. And I wanted to make these great pancakes from scratch, and my bill was close to $35, and I was thinking, hey, we could have just went out to eat. You know, why isn't there really good breakfast products on the shelf? And I literally left the store entrepreneur. So about a year and a half into starting the business, I was able to leave and quit my job and do it full time. And then probably about a month or a month and a half into my business, I went to QuickBooks Online. I didn't know any better. I thought that was the only solution that was out there. It worked for me. I had customers and I needed to create invoices and packing slips and all those things. So it was just an organic move for me, and I've been growing through QuickBooks ever since.
Cool. Before we really jump into what everybody's here is like running your business on QBO and apps and that type of thing, can you just kind of talk about how you use technology just in your day-to-day life and your personal apps you use on your phone? I know I've had conversations with a lot of you. All of you listen to podcasts, but what are some things that you guys also do that's not really related to your business, but the way you have apps and technology in your life?
I mean, everything's on my phone. I mean, I think we all kind of live with our phone these days. So certainly any of the things I run my business with are also on my phone. I would hope they are. I mean, the phone is really, for me, it's social media, it's books, audiobooks, podcasts, and then I get my news. I get my news on my phone as well now. So I mean, it's you know, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I love business. People ask me what I do for fun. I work, and so you know, essentially it's podcasts, audiobooks, and a little bit of social media just to numb the brain every now and then.
I'm a measurement nerd, so I have my Pebble, and it tracks all of my steps. I swim, it tracks my laps. I make sure that I have my workout, that's my sanity every day. So I use technology to ensure that I'm doing that. When I go on my hikes, I listen to my podcasts so that I can learn while I'm outside at the same time. And out in the workplace, like I said, we're cloud-based for all of our technology. So our teamwork management, we use Teamwork PM, which is a project management software. We use Method CRM, which sits on top of QuickBooks, and that's our CRM. Everything has to coincide with our scheduling and our email. I'm just, if there's tech that's going to save me time, that's going to measure my success, that's going to open up opportunities for me and help me grow, then I'm on top of it.
So my husband is an SAP developer, so I don't have a choice but to integrate technology into my life. We sit in the bed and we're like, both have our laptops in front of us. So between that, my iPad, my iPhone, I use technology for everything from, banking to finding the next place that I'm going to eat. If I'm someplace where I don't know where I am, what's the next thing to do? So we're always finding new technology. I'm always using my phone to find new apps. I read a lot of blogs on, how to really just organize your life personally. And then, as far as my business, so I'm always trying to find like the next best things. My bills are automated. Everything that I do in our household is automated. So I don't know another way.
One thing I got of all three of you, which I kind of, in 3 separate phone calls, kind of this sense of like, I never even considered using desktop software. And I know that Megan, you have really strong points of view on this. And it'd be cool if you kind of talked about that a little bit. And like you had points of view about the hard drive is your hard drive. You want somebody else's software on there. And so some of the other thoughts about how it projects you to your customer base. But if you want to expand on that a little bit, it'd be interesting.
So I'm very fortunate at this point in my life where I only go into the office twice a week. So I have to be able to take care of my entire company off-site. So that was the biggest reason why I went to cloud. Also, I've had the experience of dropping my computer, my laptop, and losing everything on the hard drive, and oops, that backup didn't go through. So, but the truth is, as the parent of a teenager and 20-something-year-old daughter now, this is the future. And I have to tell you, if you are right now thinking of writing apps for desktop, you're going to be put out of business really soon. And I'm going to push to Intuit that they need to just shoot the dinosaur of desktop and put all their resources into online, okay? Like you said, I have some pretty strong opinions about this. I see the millennials, and they're going to take your job if you are still thinking about working on a desktop software. But we want access to our information wherever we are. And if I don't have my phone, I want to be able to go to library and log in and view that information. Like you said, my hard drive is for storing my photographs, and even those I upload to Facebook and such. So it frees me up from being tied to a thing. I don't want to be tied to a thing. I want to have all that information readily accessible to me.
I'm going to have this question. My mic work still? Yeah. This question is really for Erica and Jason. So you guys have kind of a similar trajectory. You guys went from 0 to like 100 miles an hour, like that overnight. So before you discovered QuickBooks Online, how were you tracking things? And Erica, you could answer it first. Like, how were you tracking things before you even switched to QuickBooks?
Well, probably about a month and a half into my business, I got QuickBooks Online quickly. Because I couldn't create an invoice for my customers and send it over to them for them to approve. I couldn't generate purchase orders. I couldn't do anything that I wanted to do. So before that, I literally just took like a template from Microsoft Office and created an invoice, and took it with me to customers when I was delivering their product. But I realized that was not going to work very long, and I knew there had to be a better way. So I immediately kind of transitioned over to QuickBooks, which was pretty easy. I didn't even think about the price. I think a lot of things I've heard, here at QuickBooks Connect is, oh, well, the price and the value and all those things. I never even considered, the prices. I pay $39.95 a month. I do my payroll, and it's just something that I don't, I don't think about at all.
I agree. Price is no object when it's going to save you the time and take care of the things Absolutely. That you need to. I look at the money I've put into Method CRM, but I can't run my company without it. It fits my company like a glove. because of all the customizations. But the truth is, it's an investment. Every time I put money into that program, it saves my team time. And if I can save my team a half hour of time every week for $600 in customization, that's going to add up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Jason, you kind of had a mess, right? You said like you had 22 spreadsheets or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way less sophisticated than these two ladies here in this. Yeah, look, I was still working a full-time job, and my business was growing, and so I launched the website. And I say launched the website, I was just an e-commerce template, and we uploaded some pictures, and if you build it, they will come, and people started ordering. I literally just every receipt from everything that I bought went into a shoebox, and then any invoices I was creating, I was using like a Microsoft Word template, and I mean for a year and a half, I just had receipts and boxes piling up in spreadsheets, because at the time I was working full time, and I was making beef jerky at night, and I was packing up orders and packing boxes and shipping them out, and I was up till midnight, and then I would just go crash, and so receipts and bookkeeping and all these other little things that it just got shoved to the side, and I'll do that later. And so, yeah, when we finally purchased QuickBooks Online, there was no question that the desktop version was never in our. I didn't even know it existed. I just saw online, and it was $29.99 or $39 or whatever it was, and went, yep, we need that. And then we just started manually entering things. But yeah, there's spreadsheets everywhere, and we're still not fully off of all of our spreadsheets, and we can talk a little bit about why. But we're certainly not on 22 different spreadsheets for 22 different processes anymore. Yeah, so prior to QuickBooks Online, I had shoebox after shoebox full of receipts, and hopefully it got entered into the spreadsheet.
So I kind of skipped this question, which is basically, did QBO fill all your needs straight out of the box? But obviously you guys have all implied that it hasn't. You're still using some spreadsheets, you've had to use some apps. I do find it interesting if you guys could talk and compare and contrast maybe some of your issues around cash flow management, right? I think two of you are on one side where you have cash flow problems because people have to pay you money, but you have to manufacture goods, and in Megan's case, you have the opposite problem where people prepay you for a year ahead, but you can't really use that cash either. So if you guys could just talk about the problems around that, how you possibly solve it with apps, or if an app doesn't solve what problem you're having related to that. Feel free, who wants to jump in?
I think for me, when you start a company, it's based on passion, and you don't really think about the sales cycle and how long it takes to receive money. What I quickly found out is that I couldn't get financing. It was a huge struggle for me, and I needed a lot of cash up front. As you grow, you want the huge accounts like Target and Dillard's and all of those, and all the things that I aspired to. I got all of those accounts, but then they sent me over a purchase order, and I needed 50 grand. And for me, QuickBooks Online was very helpful because I was able to take all of that data and get my first term loan with OnDeck. And that happened within about 3 days, which was super helpful for me because it happened within, in fourth quarter when we did a majority of our business. So, and now I've transitioned, I paid OnDeck off, and now I'm using that, I'm managing my cash flow through Fundbox and Bluevine. And what I found is that I've been able to build a great relationship with those teams. Even though it's, technology driven, the customer service is impeccable. And it's been huge for me. So now I don't have to go and, dig money out of my personal pocket, as I invoice all of my customers, and I might have a large invoice, I can go ahead and receive up to 85 or 90% of that invoice. I don't have to worry about paying my employees and paying vendors and things like that. So those I'm on every single day, just getting financing. They're very inexpensive to finance the invoices. So.
And Jason, you have similar?
Yeah, I have a similar challenge in our business, and Eric can probably agree to this, but I buy inventory 90 days in advance, typically from when I'm going to receive cash. So I can get a purchase order from a big distributor, and great, I have 2 weeks to fill it. So if I haven't already purchased my raw goods, then I'm in trouble. I'm not going to fill that purchase order on time, and I'm at risk of it canceling. Some big major retailers in the Southeast, one of our biggest customers is Publix, and if you guys are familiar with them, they're an 1,100 store grocery chain, and if you're late 2 days on a purchase order, it's just canceled. Forget it. And so you can't be late. So for me, I quickly realized that I needed to load up on inventory, and so I'm sitting on inventory, which means I'm cash poor. But then also, most of these major retailers pay on a net 30 basis, and there's not typically a ton of negotiating. From time to time, you can have early pay discounts and so on, but anyway, from the time I purchased raw goods to the time I received the purchase order, filled the order, and then invoiced the order, there's about a 90-day lag. And so we've grown at triple-digit pace for 3 years consistently, which means that my raw goods are outpacing, my purchase of raw goods are outpacing my cash.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge need for cash now when it comes to accessing capital. Obviously you guys have mentioned a few ways to do that. I went a different direction and went and raised capital through the more traditional venture capital model. First went to a bank and realized that no bank was going to loan me money at this point, or I would have to sign over my firstborn, my second mortgage, my third mortgage, my eighth mortgage, before they would even consider looking at me. So, I went and raised capital, but without clean books. It was the number one thing these guys were looking at. They're like, well, let's see the books. And so fortunately, I at least had clean books that I could present to these investors, and it made an enormous difference. So we raised a successful round of capital to sort of survive our own growth last year, fortunately.
And then Megan, talk about
Yeah,
I know you have a
and
complete opposite problem. It's still a problem even though you have cash.
Yeah, so we're at the point where we are about half sold out for next year's summer camp. I know, bad problem to have. So I'm flush with cash, except that it's a liability. And that's really important that you track that as a liability. It's not earned until after the summer camp. And it's important because what if something happens to that camp and I don't have a camp? I've got to refund all that money. So I even go so far as to take that money out of that account and put it into a special savings account so it can earn interest, just in case something were to happen. So the key thing for my situation is the discipline to not dip into that money until after I've earned it. So it looks great to have that kind of cash, but when you look at and do not a P&L.
Budget?
It's not, your cash, basically. Your balance sheet shows you've got this huge liability sitting there. And I've learned to get a little comfortable with that because the word liability terrifies me. But that's how it goes. It's a seasonal business for our summer camps, and that's our largest revenue.
So I know a lot of you have found an app so far. Could you say how you found the app, or how you learn about new apps, kind of that discovery process? What's important to you when you're analyzing an app? Just kind of that process, that thought process that goes through your head. Or I know some of you said at trade shows you find out about apps. Some of you find them in QBO. Just if you could speak to that, and go in any order you'd like. Whoever want to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, fellow entrepreneurs. Is how I found out about most of them. Funbox, I just from going to the app tab on QuickBooks Online, I just kind of look at the reviews. I pay attention to reviews. If it's not at least 4 stars, I don't want to touch it because it has too many bugs or issues. So Bluevine had 5-star reviews, and I was just like, okay, this might be a really, really good one. The same thing for Funbox, great reviews. I haven't had any problems, and I make sure that I review as well so that other companies are informed that this is a great app. So I look that way, and then also, just kind of talking amongst my peers when they're evangelists for the apps that they love. So if that's the case, and I'm just like, well, I need to be on this too because I want to make sure that I solve those CRM issues or whatever the case may be. So I've actually taken some suggestions from these two here, and I'm going to implement those as soon as I get back. Yeah.
I found Method CRM through the QuickBooks app section.
Okay.
And it was important to me because I wanted a CRM that would sit on top of QuickBooks and have not just one direction, but dual direction communication. So, and that was actually the criteria for me. If it didn't work with QuickBooks, I wasn't even going to look at it, no matter how much you told me, well, you could export this file, then import it into QuickBooks now. I wanted it to be instantly communicative with QuickBooks. Other apps, what I've done is gone into Google and type in, for my teamwork management, task management, and the same thing, you look at the reviews, try the free trial. Apps that allow you to have one user for free to try it, key, because before, and I know you've done this too, we take a look at it, we test it thoroughly and before making the decision to buy it and pass it on to our team. It doesn't reach our team until we've looked at it and tested it out.
Yeah, all three, right? So there's the entrepreneurial referral, which I think weighs more heavily than any other. Certainly Googled and looked at the apps marketplace as well on how to sort of find what we need. And I'm in agreement, right? So same thing, I use Yelp for when I'm visiting other cities for finding great places to eat. And if I just simply don't eat at a restaurant with less than 4 stars on Yelp, it just doesn't happen for me. So I think the same applies for apps in my business. If other entrepreneurs aren't rating it high, I'm not going to use it, or I'm not even going to test it. And then I do think testing is very important because, oftentimes as soon as you sync that data, you guys are Intuit, so you're familiar with Lettuce. Remember Lettuce? I think Intuit recently purchased Lettuce, and it was an app that we used. We didn't have a huge trial period, but we used it and implemented it, and data went bananas with the integration process. So we prefer to test things now. At least I would say at least 30 days, even just to kind of trial something before I'm going to fully integrate it with all of my other systems and just create a complete mess with my data.
So that's a good transition. The next question I was going to ask is, are you currently still trying to streamline a process, or currently looking at an app, analyzing some apps right now, literally as we speak?
Yes. I mean,
what is it?
Constantly for us, look, in my business, I have a sales director who generates sales and needs to, input those sales into a system that I need to speak to QuickBooks, which can then generate invoices, which I need to then speak to an inventory management system that can deplete inventory across multiple warehouses and sort of all talk to each other multiple ways. We've sort of, we have a sales CRM, we use Salesforce, and that sort of speaks to QuickBooks. QuickBooks doesn't do a great job speaking back to it with the app that we've used to integrate it, but on the inventory side is our biggest struggle. So our biggest struggle now is an inventory solution that has, like you mentioned, communication both ways between my accounting software and between my inventory solution, where it can deplete inventory, and sort of automate that process. Right now, that's where we're using spreadsheets. Is we're keeping track of what inventory is in what warehouse and when purchase orders go out and how we're depleting that, and that needs to count against the balance sheet versus with our assets and so on. And so we're in a test mode with Unleashed, which is an inventory management solution, which is extremely robust and attractive so far. But again, it only has one-way communication, which is a huge challenge for me to sort of pull the trigger on and go full.
So that bidirectional sync is important. Could you, just to paint a picture on size-wise, because I think it's easy for us to bring up and say you're a small business, right? And you need some inventory, but I know you have multiple warehouses. Can you kind of speak to the volume you do between your warehouses and maybe your online sales and what you're shipping out to REI and that type of thing, so they can get a picture of this is a really decent-sized business on QBO? Can you speak to those numbers?
So we launched into retail 3 years ago, and that was with me with a backpack going door to door selling beef jerky to natural food stores. We're in over 4,000 locations across the U.S., including Whole Foods, Sprouts Farmers Markets, Publix, Kroger, Wegmans, REI, and so on. And so we ship to probably 25 different distribution centers for distributors currently. I have three co-packing facilities where they actually manufacture the product. And then I have raw goods coming in from multiple places where it's meat and bags and boxes and raw ingredients. And so 4,000 U.S. locations, 3 manufacturing warehouses, and then all the vendors that ship things into those warehouses, and then all of the distribution hubs that product goes out to before it ever hits a retail store.
It's definitely a need that QBO is not going to fill, for sure. There's teeny versus what you need. Erica, what about you? Are you analyzing any apps right now or looking at any solutions currently?
Same thing. Inventory is my biggest one, and then a good CRM solution. So I'm looking at Method now. But the biggest thing is we're always running out of ingredients. We actually still manufacture our products, so we don't have a co-packer. So I have tons of raw ingredients. Just yesterday, I was here, and my team called me and said, hey, we ran out of cinnamon, we ran out of this, we ran out of that. And I'm just like, I need a comprehensive inventory app. And I actually walked the exhibit hall, and all of the companies I was looking at, they're all missing one piece. to what I needed because I'm a manufacturer. I have multi-channel distribution. We sell in about 4,000 stores plus, including Target, Dillard's, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter, tons of stores. And then we also sell internationally, and then we also sell online. And then we also have 2 retail outlets in Georgia. So with all of that, I need one-stop shop. So that's what I'm on the quest for here. And, I want to talk some more when I go out to the exhibit hall, but that's my biggest pain point now.
Actively looking. Megan?
Well, we actually just signed on with Zenefits like a week or 2 ago. And what happened there was that I opened up an email from them, and they had my sweet spot word, which is compliance. Because that's the other thing, is making sure that we're in compliance with employment law, and Zenefits is a big part of taking care of that. So, so that's, basically, I'm looking for specific answers to my problems that are coming up, and I would add into that we are, like I said, I'm on the forefront. You know how they had in the discussion, the keynote speaker this morning was saying that there are companies who are, it's enough. The software I'm using is enough. I'm not that person. Method right now is enough for me, maybe even a little more than enough, but I'll tell you, I still look at CRMs that come out. Because if there's a CRM that does more than what Method is doing for me, I'm going to go spend time looking for it. Because I'm looking for that next level up that's going to be answering more of my problems.
Just kind of blanked out here. So you're obviously looking at current solutions for a problem that's on your radar that you're trying to solve now. Can you just talk about some other problems you have that you haven't even tried to find solutions for yet? I'm sure you have tons and tons of problems, but what's some other ones that you guys have? I mean, you can go first if you want, and then kind of we'll go from there.
I want an app to find apps. Seriously. I mean, 1,400 apps in the App Store. Do I really have time to go through all of those? I would love to have an app where I fill out, here's what I need to have solved, and you guys say, you know what, we got the app to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'll let you go.
Supply chain management. I want to be able to source, automate, and generate purchase orders. I really want to automate my entire company so that I can do more. I would love to cook more. I would love to shoot YouTube videos. I would love to, do all of the things that I initially set out to do when I started the company because I spend so much time doing administrative tasks on a day-to-day basis. I don't get a chance to do that. So, inventory is a pain point. HR, finding a great HR app, a good marketing app, a good sales app. I have a lot of apps that I need to find. But yeah, I would love to say in the next year, I would love to, at least have a chunk of what I do on a daily basis automated.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. If you guys can give a great round of applause for our panel.